and take a drink. Hello, you beautiful people. Another beautiful day. Yeah. It's Friday and it's beautiful, and I hope your 5 senses work. What? Now, let's get down to business. Let's do this. Alright. Let's do this. We're talking about the Avengers here. Listen to this article that I found on Eurogamer. Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics have destroyed players' trust by selling Marvel Avengers Progression Boost. Remember when I was talking to you all about the Avengers? I told you that Crystal Dynamics was the developer, Square was the publisher, and Sony and Square had relationships. Remember when I told you that they were trying to turn the Avengers into a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game because Marvel Ultimate Alliance is over at Nintendo? Remember that? Let me read this again. Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics have destroyed players' trust by selling Marvel Avenger Progression Boost. What did I tell you? You know what? Like I told you guys before, I think it was in The Dark Knight Begins or something. Bruce Wayne was just taking a shower. And he was drying himself off. And Alfred came up to Bruce Wayne and said, "Know your limits, Master Wayne." Right? Bruce Wayne looked at Alfred and said, "Batman has no limits." Stop right there. So, if a superhero has no limits, why are you putting limitations on superheroes, especially in today's video game climate and with these consoles that we're pushing? The problem I had with the Avengers was this. You have Iron Man. He could not fly to the top of the Ames building. You got Thor, the god of thunder, right? He could not fly to the top of the Ames building. Then you have the Hulk. When the Hulk jumps up to the top of the Ames building, that means when he jumps into a building to get to the top, the building takes damage, right? Then you have Captain America, who can get up there too, right? And then there's Vision and all that, right? And Hawkeye probably have to use like a vehicle to get to the top of the building, right? And you're trying to tell me in the Avengers, that's made by Crystal Dynamics, published through Square, you put limitations on the superheroes, right? You're giving them platforms to fly on, and they can go like only halfway up the building, not all the way to the top. Not even halfway up. They can go up so high. And that was the problem with the Avengers, is that you put limitations on these superheroes. Okay, try to hold them back. So when I was talking to you all about the Avengers, now I hope you see what I was getting at. Let me read this again. Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics have destroyed players' trust by selling Marvel Avengers Progression Boost. The game got so bad that I remember battling Taskmaster, and I was running out of power-ups. Taskmaster was doing so much damage that I was flying around the level trying to find power-ups, and I couldn't find any. Okay, and I was at a disadvantage with the game. I was going on raids by myself, so I took 3 other CPU players with me, and the 4 of us couldn't even beat the Taskmaster, right? Because we couldn't find enough power-ups in the game to keep our health, to give us health to fight the Taskmaster, and that was the problem with the game too. Okay, you put the limitations on the superheroes. You put the limit on their flying abilities on where they can go. But then during gameplay, the superheroes are limited. They don't get enough power up boost. So when you fight the Taskmaster on that on that raid mission that you go on, you're at a loss because you don't get a. When Taskmaster is sitting there giving you damage, you don't have enough. You don't have enough power-ups to help you out, and that's where the issue lies within the game. So, when I was telling you guys in the beginning that about Sony and Square and their relationship that they had since PlayStation 1, and I was telling you about Crystal Dynamics, I hope you guys see now what I was talking about, because based on what this article is saying, they have ruined the game basically, okay? And this is probably why most players got tired of it, because most people that played the Avengers saying, wait a minute, in DC Universe, the superheroes can go anywhere they want. You can create and customize your own superhero. They can fly and go wherever they want. Even fly all the way up to where the Gotham City police, Gotham City blimp with the big old searchlight was flying around the city. They can go all the way up there and fly all the way up there and then fly back down. But and that's a superhero game, right? DC Universe. But in the Avengers, you can't do that. Okay. Anyway, let me read this. Nice little article here too. It says here, Square Enix is facing a backlash for selling Marvel Avengers XP boosters. A recent update to the game store means XP boosters are now for sale via consumables. These boosts let players speed up characters' growth in exchange for real world money. Fans have hit out at the move, pointing to pre-launch promise to sell cosmetics only. And then article goes on to say, neither Square or Crystal Dynamics have commented on the update we've asked, but fans fear the worst then. Marvel Avengers receive an XP nerf in March. Continue reading. Marvel Avengers, a recent high-profile addition to Microsoft Xbox Game Pass library, is not a competitive online game, but the sale of XP boosters have still ferociously criticized by fans. The Marvel Avengers subreddit is currently packed with players' complaints. One fan said Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics have destroyed players' trust. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you guys about the Avengers when I first started talking about it? You can go back and look at it. You'll see you can see what I was getting at. It's funny when I'm talking about gaming, how everything comes to the light. But anyway, it says here, today's update is wrong, said Redditor Larnix, summing up the sentiment. For the first time since the game launch, I no longer want to support it. I have spent some serious cash in cosmetics because I love the gameplay and the heroes, and also the event and expansions have been fun, so I didn't have a problem supporting the devs because they were incredibly talented and actually product is good. Not really. Anyway, but the game doesn't have the luxury to do this when there's so much to be fixed. So much. They have been planning this for some time. Remember when I was talking about the Avengers? Anyway, using resources that would have been better used in other parts of the game. And above all, they have been lying to us. I feel like I have been scammed in some way. As of right now, I have more than 1,000 credits to use for Spider-Man, and I'll play every DLC they release because I paid for it already, but I will not be spending more money on this game. I know this is just my opinion, and not everyone is going to agree with me, but I need to share this with the community. Let me keep reading here. What a shame, really. I feel bad, guys. And then it shows the pictures of the cosmetics you got to purchase. And a comment from Twitter. Remember when Marvel Avengers nerfed XP gains because players were too overwhelmed and confused by how quickly they were leveling? Well, they just added XP boosts to their cash shop, so now you can purchase some of the sweet sweet, overwhelming confusion for a low price. And it says, somebody said, what the is this? Playing Avengers, what in the actual curse word is this? Nah, really? Paying for XP boost and resources? Wow, this is so curse word. Anyway, let me keep going. I can't curse. Anyway, says here, last month, Crystal Dynamics published a new content roadmap for the Embattled Superhero live service game. The long-awaited PlayStation exclusive arrival of Spider-Man as a playable character is now listed for fall/winter, when players on all platforms will get to confront Wakanda villain Claw in Avengers' first ever raid. Tie-ins to the Marvel Cinematic Universe will continue with release of more MCU-inspired heroes outfit. There will also be a Hawkeye nameplate challenge to promote the upcoming Disney Plus show. Marvel Avengers first time launched last September and found players hard to come by. Content has come a little slower than fans were expected, but it's clear Crystal Dynamics is still supporting the game for the foreseeable future. Perhaps paid XP boost is how. Look, and then there's like 30 comments here, but I'm gonna read the comments in a minute. What have I been telling you about the whole Marvel Avengers? From day one, I gave you the scenario that Crystal Dynamics is the developer, Square is the publisher, and then there is Sony. Sony and Square Enix have relationships since PlayStation 1. I told you all this, and in order for Crystal Dynamics to get stuff out, they got to go through Square, and then Sony approves it. I told you. Look what's happening now. The game is messed up because even they didn't even have Hawkeye playable. Okay, they didn't even have Hawkeye playable. Okay, they messed the game up so bad with the leveling system. Then they changed it, and then they try to they put limitations on the superheroes, and everything was downhill from there. So what I was saying now has come to the light. You got Sony, Square, Crystal. Sony and Square got history together, okay? And Sony was holding up the game too by dangling Spider-Man like a carrot on a string, because they want to turn the Avengers game into Spider-Man and the Avengers, not Captain America and the Avengers, okay? Because if you go back to the arcades, it was Captain America and the Avengers, and Spider-Man was never an Avenger, okay? If you go back to the arcades and play the game in the arcade, you had Captain America, you had Iron Man, you had Hawkeye, you had Submariner, and then you had Vision, okay? Those were the main five. Spider-Man was nowhere to be found. Spider-Man had his own, Spider-Man had an arcade game, I think it was Spider-Man and Sinister Six, something like that. But he was never an Avenger. Remember all those times when I was explaining it to you guys? Look what's happening now. Ain't it funny? Anyway, let me read these comments here. Got 30 of them. Oh God. Oh, I got 7 minutes. I gotta get going here. Anyway, it said the meat industry makes it a product called pink slime. It's what you get by the time you had the good bits, the cheap bits, and the really bad bits of meat already, and all the left is rubbish. Pink slime is the last desperate hype capitalist attempt to rinse some merger value out it, no matter how disgusting the process. This is gaming equivalent. No one cares about maintaining players' trust at this point. The game is no longer in quality product business, even the budget product business. It's all about rinsing the fragment of its corpse. Another person said, Also, look at how gelatin is created. Next time you think of eating gummies, jellies, licorice, all sorts, and far too many other things to mention. People are they're funny. Anyway, it said just a quick reminder: if you can pay to skin the game isn't worth playing. Another person says they got some sub comments here. Oh my god. Okay. Let me keep going here. Let's see here. Okay. He says, okay. It says here, just a quick. He says, another person says, the part of Final Fantasy you can pay to skip are absolute and utter slog that should obviously be skippable for free with no time. They make getting to the supposed good parts of Final Fantasy impossible for normal people. Yeah, the love of money, man. I feel you. Hang on. He says, hang on. So at the beginning of the year, they slowed up the XP rate gain because getting all those skill pop-up was too confusing. Now that 7 and 8 months, they are selling XP boosters. Sound perfectly legit to me. Sometimes I really hate the industry. Okay, next comment. Person here says, friendly reminder that Ubisoft has been doing paid XP boosts in full price games for years, and it's barely getting mentioned. Here we go. Another person says, but did Ubisoft ever say that they wouldn't do it only to end up doing it anyway? Wouldn't surprise me if they had, but I can only recall something similar with the Division and MTX and think that was cosmetics. As is made clear in the comment article, it's the fact that they reduced the rate of XP gain earlier in the year that makes it seem so hideous, after claiming people were being confused by leveling too fast. People were confused that they were leveling too fast. That was you that wanted to change the game in the first place. Anyway, next comment. Say this is way out fair. That's scummier. But we have been complained to call it out. That's why baby steps and scumminess like these are happening. Another person says, oh my god, these comments are funny. He says here, the thing with Ubisoft is that their games are genuinely balanced around not needing the boost. If you play even a smattering of the side of content in one of the recent Assassin's Creed game that had the boosts available, you just won't need them. They're really only there for people who really do want to skip most of the game and just critical path of the story mission. Avenger is completely different. It was balanced reasonably. Then the XP progression was massively cut back to make the unboosted balance an unreasonable grind. The problem is not paid boosters per se. It's breaking the base game to make them borderline necessary. People giving their opinions here. You learn a lot in these comments. Okay. Next comment. Person says here, because somehow Ubisoft managed to get the balance right, the leveling in Assassin's Creed game doesn't feel like it's actually slow to make you buy a booster, but it's there if you want it. I feel the same way about the level booster in World of Warcraft. They are there if you want them, but they aren't necessary. Next comment. Okay, where we at? Say, disgusting and completely unsurprising at the same time. Having failed to make the game sustainable long term, they now going to milk what's left of the player base for all their worth. AAA game in a nutshell. Such a waste of a license too. Yeah. That's why Rocksteady should have got the game, but that's a different argument for a different day. But anyway, let me continue. As the core simpler players game outside the sandbox type level is actually really decent. The franchise deserves so much more. Here's open Guardians of the Galaxy deliver the goods and doesn't try to rip off its fans. we're gonna be looking for we gonna see how this game does. All right, next comment. The person says here, so Square Enix basically consider it a free-to-play title since it went to Game Pass. What a monumental balls up. Why didn't they just make a solid third-person single-player game? Loads of people would have bought it. Another person says, he says here, 3 comments. Okay. This seems like a massive slap in the face to fans of the game. Me personally, I was never a fan of the game, but wow, way to annoy your fans base. Square Enix. The person says here, the person deleted his comments. Another person here says, was any player really not expecting this? Another person says, in Tales of Arise, you can buy levels for your character with money, not even XP boost. You can level up your characters as many times as you want if you are willing to pay. Eurogamer recommend Tales of Arise. Alright. And then there's 3 comments here, 3 replies. That's what he's talking about. Okay. He says here, says here, it's probably a good thing that this kind of failed, or maybe calling it a failure is a bit harsh, but I'm sure it didn't do as well as Square Enix was hoping it would. It can serve as a bit of a warning. Maybe the next big Marvel game might shy away from being so aggressive on live service side of things. Next game might feel even more into the simply making a fun experience designed to sell a buttload of copies, sorry about that, rather than an app designed to milk. If you want to make an omelet, you need to break some eggs. Oh my god, these players are funny. Anyway, then he has one comment. It said, knowing your game is dull, but people, impatience and vanity will make them spend money to avoid the chore of actually playing it much. Hell of a business model. See me, I believe in like playing the game all the way through. See, this goes back to the this goes back to when they say Call of Duty file size is too big. That comment that the person just made. You know, this goes back to what the Call of Duty file size. Me, file sizes don't bother me. I do believe in playing the game all the way through. But if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. The leveling system in the Avengers was fine. Is when they messed with it and came up with a sorry excuse. The game lost its value, and then on top of that, you put limitations on superheroes. So the game lost its appeal after that. Anyway, next comment. I'm pretty sure that the consumer trust was shattered after the game came out and was completely devoid of any sort of fun factor. Next person. Is the game actually any good? Next person. You have to pay to find out, it seems. Next person says here, I gave it a whirl on Game Pass. Quite enjoyed the start of Kamala campaign until the mission started and they killed the game dead. Utterly devoid of a charm. A hilarious, boring button masher where you loot, where loot better pants for Hulk to wear. I kid you not. The gash design couldn't be more to odd with the source material. On a more positive side, I didn't much mind the lack of MCU likeness of voice acting, which was actually a testament more to Kamala character, which was really great, which was surprise to me as I vehemently against them not using the likeness and such. This should have been a story-driven single-player game like Spider-Man, if they done that and put more energy into the graphics engine instead, it could have been really great. I did have definitely brought mini expansion for each hero, and that could have been their revenue stream post-release. Then another person says here, I didn't mind the Disney XD Saturday morning cartoon Avengers, and that had some good VA. Use those and cell shaded like Platinum Transformer games. That would have give you the distance needed from live action movies. Okay. I enjoy the campaign for most part. Chiefly the section mirror you where Miss Marvel. Not all characters are enjoyable to play. Iron Man and Thor were my least favorite, but it's not terrible. The post-endgame comments gets repetitive, and I haven't liked the way the new characters feel. But the campaign was enough that I felt like I got my money's worth. And next person here, almost done here, people. Says here, I am only a few hours in, and I don't know whether I like it or not, as they made some weird choices. Walking around exhibit in games is never fun, and even though it's comparatively short, seem to go on for ages, and on part from the shooting range, which feels more like Iron Man Black Widow. It's just walking around and clicking on X. The tutorial goes so quick it doesn't give you a chance to get the feel for the characters. Then the start of Kamala Khan campaign, otherwise knows as the Avengers of the Tomb Raider, Wind Waker. I don't want to do a 20 to 30 minute stealth section with insta-death mechanics in a superhero game, but I just want to punch stuff. They're exploding the rebellion base. Please just let me punch something. I am about 2 hours in. I have had 3 punches up. Another person says, yes, it's good. I can see why some fans consider it great. I don't consider it. I want to grind hard at it. Good, but definitely good enough to be worth playing and getting at least 30 to 40 hours of fun out of it. Maybe a lot more depends on the gamer, and more each time a bit of story DLC is released at the least, and you no longer have to pay full release price to do it. Then another person says, I'm generally enjoying the single player part now that it's on Game Pass, so some people like it. Another person says here, gameplay says here, says, yeah, I've been trying it for the first time this week, and the gameplay story bits are pretty good. The Disney style gears system and power level seems pretty dumb, but I don't really have any intention of engaging with them either. I play the narrative stuff and drop it when it gets grindy. As a Game Pass title, I don't really feel any compulsion to try to squeeze my money worth out of the game. I am not enjoying anymore. So some people like the games, other people do, and it's just a mixed bag. Next person said the original campaign is fun, and Kate Bishop is actually a fun character to play. Hawkeye DLC and Black Panther, however, were pretty bad, and the gas element are really bad. I tried it a bit because I had fun with the move set of Kate Bishop, but I couldn't even make it to max level on this single character. I have no idea how anyone else is able to grind for several Avengers, let alone one team. Another person says here, I didn't even read the article because I couldn't care less about the game. But I love you 3000 XP made me spit out my drink. So thanks for that. Next person said, with Crystal Dynamics being farmed out to provide the development muscle for the initiative, Perfect Dark Reboot, Avengers could well be left to coast along under a skeleton crew at this point. Next person, great subheading. Another person, amazing how many of these companies promise us one thing and then after a while just break that promise. Remember Crash Nitro Racing? Crash Nitro Racing? Someone really needs to hold them to task as the question why they went back on their word, but that never gonna happen with today's journals. They're probably too busy crafting an article, which excuse it. Another person says here, today's journals grilling a game execs about scummy business practices. Another person, but never gonna happen with today's journal. I wonder if Jeremy Paxton has considered game journalism. He did get the we'll leave that part alone. Hence the game is on Game Pass, different revenue model, same game. This is guaranteed cash cow. Must be whoremongering money. Hemorrhaging money. Anyway, next person. Square Enix has become just as bad as Activision, EA, and Ubi when it comes to money grubbing, yet it seems repeatedly get a free pass because of Final Fantasy nostalgia. Maybe this will make people wake up. No, I've been up, dude. What are you talking about? It seems Japanese studios makers get a free pass on Western media. True. Nobody, like, they don't want to hold Nintendo accountable for nothing. But anyway, for pretty much everything scummy they do, I can't even imagine the outrage if any Western studios make 1/3 of the BS Nintendo does on a regular basis, and yet they keep getting a free pass. Yeah, because the game industry is full with hypocrites, though. A lot of people in the game industry are fake. But anyway, what a disaster of a game. Make tiny steps in the right direction on Game Pass, then wallop a big dose of tomfoolery. Hopefully, Disney to grab back the rights and give them to another developer. I have suspect if Sony are on the ball, they could get the exclusive right and get them to Insomniac. No, dude, the Avengers should have went to WB Games, man. I would rather not WB Games. I would rather Rocksteady make the Avengers than Crystal Dynamics, straight up. But that's a different argument for a different day. Oh, almost done here. Anyway, let's see how many more comments I got. I'm gonna stop right here because there's so many. But anyway, this was just to give you a gist of what's going on with the Avengers, and the game is damaged. The game is damaged. I was from day one. I said Rocksteady should have gotten the rights to this. The moment it got under Square and I realized Sony was involved with it, I knew the game was gonna go. It was gonna get bad, and that's why I did the illustration about Crystal Dynamics, the developer, Square, the publisher, and then there's Sony. So I knew this was gonna happen. It was gonna come down to this. And now the game is not even playable anymore. But what I'm going to do is just leave a link in the description box with this video. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Poor Dark Side. Come. Peace.